One more game, guys. One more game. For both of my teams, quite possibly, but definitely for this first one. It's Thursday afternoon, and we're 2 days away from what will definitely be the last game of the 2017 season for the Washington Huskies. Fiesta Bowl taking on the Penn State Nittany Lions, which is pretty cool. That's a big time program. Obviously, they've gone through some problems lately, but it seems like they're back on the map. They had a really good season, and we're getting a really good Fiesta Bowl this year. Two 10-win teams, two teams that, they really could have made the playoff, but both teams lost tough games. We lost a game in Stanford. They lost a game where they blew a big lead against, I think, Ohio State, and then they had one other loss, and so did we. And both teams probably kind of thinking about what could have been if we had just managed to do a little better in those two games. But we both have a chance to leave a good final mark on the season. Now, obviously, I haven't watched a ton of Penn State this year, but I have watched some of them. And what they do is pretty obvious. They have one of the best running backs in the nation in Saquon Barkley. He has been mostly dominant this year. He's actually had less than 200 carries this year. He doesn't play that much because Penn State's blown out some teams, and he's just gotten to sit in these second halves. He has, however, been shut down in one or two games, and I'll talk about that, why I feel pretty good about this game because of that in a second here. But he's clearly a dynamic threat. He's a big play threat. He busts a lot of long runs. He makes a lot of big plays in the return game as well. He's a great kickoff returner. He's a good all-around big play threat, and he's the first thing you got to think about when you're looking at this team. They also have a good passing attack behind Trace McSorley, I think his name is. It's not a high-flying, explosive passing attack, but it's not inept either. This team, you would have to say that both teams on offense do some similar stuff. Both teams want to run the ball. Both teams want to control the clock. And both teams have passing attacks that complement the running game, and they do pretty good, but it's not great. But you would have to say this year, the Penn State passing attack has probably been better than ours. Our passing attack, it never totally got completely on track, and then we lost a couple players, and it just hasn't been the passing attack that we were hoping we would have. Even after losing John Ross, we were hoping for a little better than this. But both teams do similar things on offense. But here's what I can say. Both teams have a good defense, but Washington this season had the best run defense in all of college football, most likely. Against the run, we gave up like 2.6 yards per carry. That is by a pretty good margin best in the country. 1,100 rushing yards total on the season through 12 games, less than 100 yards a game. Little more than 90. So that makes me feel good about a matchup like this because Penn State, they're down, they have a good run defense. They're down at number 16. They can stop the run pretty well, but I will take our rushing attack in this game over Penn State's rushing attack in this game because I think that matchup favors us just a little bit more when you look at what our defense has been able to do against the run this season. It's really incredible, by the way. We got to give those guys more credit than we probably do. I mean, they stop the run better than Alabama and Wisconsin and TCU and Northern Illinois, these other teams that did a great job stopping the run this year. Washington clearly had a better run defense than all of those teams. And some of it's because we play in the Pac-12 and maybe the competition isn't great. We didn't have to play a Saquon Barkley this year. The Bryce Love in Stanford is probably the toughest guy we had to play, and he played okay against us. But the fact that we were watching that game where Bryce Love had a pretty good game and we were getting frustrated like our team was playing bad is a sign about how good these guys are. Bryce Love can have a solid game against us, and we think it's the end of the world because we're so used to stopping the run. Excuse me. So yeah, I like our chances against Saquon Barkley. Ohio State shut Barkley down earlier this year, and they were able to ride that to a come-from-behind victory. I think we could do something similar here. Ohio State, great run defense, but by most metrics, our run defense better. So if we bring it in 2 days, if we, with Vita Vea obviously leading the charge, I think this defense can handle this Penn State rushing attack. And we're a little fortunate that Penn State is not a high-flying passing attack. I don't think this secondary can hold up. If we had to play a team like Oklahoma or any other prolific passing team, I believe the secondary would show cracks. I know they played tough. I know they played well in a lot of these games, but I believe the secondary has sustained one too many injuries, and I don't totally trust the cornerbacks. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that as much against Penn State. So now we just have to think about our own offense. Can we run the ball against a good Penn State running defense? I suspect that we can, but to me, this game all comes down to what are we going to have around Jake Browning and Myles Gaskin in our offensive playmakers, because we have Dante Pettis, great receiver this year, best punt returner in college football, great receiver. He got hurt against Washington State. We just have to cross our fingers and hope that he is going to go on Saturday, and he's going to go big. He's going to have a good game. He's going to be able to do all the things that Dante Pettis does, draw double teams, make plays down the field, get yards after the catch, all the stuff that we're used to Dante Pettis doing, because if he can't go, or if he goes and he's not right, that takes away a lot of the potential of this offense. And I don't see us winning this game if Dante Pettis can't have an impact. Hunter Bryant, been missing for the last several games. And now we hear he's got a good chance of playing in 2 days. If he can go and if he can contribute, that is huge. I can't stress that enough. Even with Dante Pettis back, this team has had a receiver problem. Hunter Bryant, if he can catch a handful of balls and attract coverage down in the red zone and get attention from the secondary, it loosens things up. It allows us to play our game. It allows us to run the ball with Myles Gaskin and hopefully just be able to outlast Penn State, because this is going to be an evenly fought game, and a little thing like Dante Pettis not being able to have an impact or Hunter Bryant not being able to go could make all the difference. I believe that we can win. I know we're slight underdogs. I know it is, very, very close, but I know we're slight underdogs right now to Penn State, but I believe that we can get this done. We just need the skill position players around Jake Browning to play well and be healthy. All right, 2 days away. Very excited. If we win, I'm assuming that we're definitely going to finish in the top 10 of the BCS rankings, whatever happens, because we're 11 right now. 2 top 10 years in a row is pretty good. If we lose, it sucks. Still a successful season. I still give a lot of credit to these guys for pulling it off, even with a couple of the injuries and a lot of the losses to the pro game that we had. Bow down to Washington. See y'all after the game, and let's do this one last time to show the 2017 season what you guys are made of. Let's go.